Hey guys, we're back with Turnabout Substitution, and we're gonna hear Emma's testimony now. Or, we heard it already, but now we're gonna cross-examine her. So, Chambers' motive. Let's see. Defendant would have only had an interest for a good reason. Yeah, he does have a good reason. Remember he told us earlier what the reason was? And let's see what they're gonna say. The defendant did have a good reason for entering Clooney prison, and it wasn't murder. This is the only way. I have to do this. Pool's gonna rip my case to shreds, but the jury just might believe me. So what is his other motive? Chambers told me something very interesting when I spoke with him yesterday. It was Christmas Eve. I received a letter for Erlenmeyer. He promised he would explain everything to me if I came to visit him. The gun, the uniform, they were not my idea. I received them in a package along with the letter, and they were part of Erlenmeyer's conditions. The whole setup was a trap. The real killer lured Chambers into Erlenmeyer's cell with a gun and drugged him, and then framed Chambers. My, what an interesting tale. Of course, that's all I'll ever think unless you have some hard proof. What happened to this letter? Well, I was told to burn the letter as soon as I had read it. In other words, the defendant claims to have been framed, and all you have is his word. Unfortunately, yes. If you judge people based solely on their word, a lot of criminals would be on the streets right now. And don't forget that we found no drugs in the defendant's body, so he couldn't have been drugged. What? Ha! You're a fraud. No other defense attorney would even dream of presenting an argument as flimsy as that, especially with the chemical contradiction. In fact, I think that even helped my case. I feel like I could leave right now and you would do a fine job of getting Chambers convicted. Don't listen to her, Apollo. You know what you needed to do. You did what you needed to do. We both know that Chambers was telling the truth about the letter. That's all what matters now. The truth. We need to get that first, and we can worry about evidence later. Let me state my opinion on this matter. Although the defense has introduced a possibility of the defendant being framed, he gave no supporting evidence. The defendant had a clear motive, and there is substantial evidence against him. You may be young, Your Honor, but you are wise. Anyway, I believe the detective has given sufficient testimony. I will call up my next witness, who will conclusively show that it was a premeditated murder. Officer Meekins. Yep, expected. Now, witness, please state your name and occupation. My name is Meekins, prison. I'm Guard Mike, sir. I'm a prison guard. I'm Meekins Mike, sir. I'm the opposite. I'm a prison guard, and I'm Meek Mikins, sir. Can I do that over? Yes, I think that would be better if you do. Please strike the witness's last statements from the record. Thank you. My name is Meekins Prison. I'm a guard Mike, ma'am. I'm a prison guard. I'm Meekins Mike, ma'am. I'm the opposite. I'm a prison guard, and I'm Meek Mikins, ma'am. Mike Meekins. Even I messed up. Let's see. Honestly, didn't see that coming. I didn't think he was that stupid. Just give your testimony. The sooner it starts, the sooner it ends. I guess it's a glitch or something. The witness's testimony. It was a premeditated murder, ma'am. Premeditated, ma'am. I was on duty to make sure no unauthorized personnel would be allowed in the cells. Chambers looked suspicious, but I had to let him through for 2 reasons. First, he was wearing a prison guard uniform, sir. The second reason was that he had a gun only prison guards would have access to. So either he is a senior officer or the murder is premeditated, sir. And Mrs. Poole just said, the sooner we start, the sooner we're done. Please proceed, Mr. Justice. Okay, I think we need to know more about the gun. So let's get to the gun part. Let's see, that, yes. That's suspicious. I had to let him through for 2 reasons. Prison guard uniform, sir. And the second he had a gun with them, so let's press on that. There are plenty of things to ask about here. Let's see. How Meekin saw the gun. Why did you take note of the weapon? I don't understand what you mean, sir. If most prison guards have one, why would you take note of it? Wouldn't it be suspicious if you didn't have a gun? Well, he had the gun in his hands and he was waving it around everywhere. He even pointed it at me. I believe that shows that his mind was bent on killing Erlenmeyer. Actually, I think this changes the interpretation of a certain piece of evidence. Yeah, it changes, what's it called? The gun itself. Chambers' fingerprints are on the gun only because he held it in his hand. It doesn't mean he actually fired a bullet. Someone else could have fired it as if they're wearing gloves. And this is relevant? How? Huh? The purpose of this testimony was to determine if the murder was premeditated. This has nothing to do with it. God. So why don't you present the evidence showing that it wasn't premeditated? As a matter of fact, I will. Right when I get it, that is. Stand me for a second there. I can't get riled up like that. Fine. I will call my final witness, an eyewitness to the crime. Fisher. Witness, you know the gist of Mr. Fisher's argument. Sorry. I have one final question. Is this testimony plausible? When I left the cell, 3 people were there. Chambers, Erlenmeyer, and Fisher. His testimony isn't possible, ma'am. Thank you. You may leave the stand. I believe we had heard enough for now. Miss Poole, I understand you are eager to call your next witness. Would it be okay if we took a recess? Of course, Your Honor. And I don't get a say in this? We'll have a 10-minute recess. Court is adjourned. Smack. Come on, Judge. Let's hurry this up. Okay, December 27th, 121, District Court, Lobby number 4. Whew, are you nervous? No, I'm fine. You look like you're about to faint. It's okay, Judge. We're doing fine. Besides, if Poole had any decisive evidence, I'm sure she would have presented it by now. She's building up her case brick by brick. We just need to knock it down, brick by brick. Of course, we haven't done much of knocking down part yet. But Jessica has proven had an opportunity and provided the evidence. And Fisher's testimony will probably be decisive enough for a guilty verdict. But sorry. But we never met Fisher, you know, and know his personality. Oh, we met Fisher. Yeah, that's right. He's short-tempered, and maybe if you anger him enough, he'll slip it up. That seems as any good. Seems like any. Oh my gosh, that seems like a good plan as any. More like the only plan. Anyway, the recess is almost over. We better get back inside. Poole is 2/3 of the way to a guilty verdict. The only thing standing between them is one testimony. But I have got to find a way to break the testimony, evidence, and motive all at once, or I'm finished. Court is back in session for the trial of Judge Chambers. Is the prosecution ready to call its witness? The prosecution was ready before recess, after all. The break was your idea. Ah, right. I'm very sorry, Miss Poole. It's okay, Your Honor. She's a crafty one, she is. Anyway, the prosecution calls Sean Fisher to the stand. Name your occupation. Sean Fisher. I'm a guard at Cleese Prison Asylum. I understand you are a witness to the murder? I sure did. Then if you would please testify about that. What I saw. My job was to make sure Erlenmeyer would remain quiet in his cell. At 1 a.m., Mike arrived at Chambers and he said our boss had ordered him to check the cell, and then Mike left. Once we were in the cell, Chambers suddenly whipped the gun out and fired and missed. There was a struggle between Erlenmeyer and Chambers. Chambers shot Erlenmeyer in the forehead. Bang! And then he knocked me unconscious with his gun. Bam! There's no blaring contradictions, but something feels off about his testimony. Do you think he's lying about what he saw? Unless Chambers is guilty, he has to be. You may You may begin the cross-examination, Mr. Justice. I don't see contradictions either, so let's just press and see what we get. My job was to make sure. Yeah. Was guarding the victim and making sure he didn't do anything difficult? Heck no. He usually just stares at the ceiling the entire day. He rarely talks, and when he does, it's just nonsense in a boring, slow, monotonous voice. The hardest part is not falling asleep. Let's see. Besides, if anything happened, I always got my gun. So what happened that night? Oh yeah, it's okay. Next one. Did you think it was strange at the time? I thought there was some kind of urgent problem since we usually need only one guard in the area. Plus, it's Mike freaking Meekin's job to determine if people are authorized to enter or not. I just guard the cell, so I wasn't in any position to protest, you see. Is that why you let someone in who claimed to be your boss that you hadn't seen before? Yep. That's all because of Mike freaking Meekins. Let's see, we're in the cell with that gun fired. How can someone miss at such close range? There are a few reasons. The first being Erlenmeyer has amazing reflexes, even if he don't look like it. He sensed what Chambers was gonna do and dodged. Second reason, that Chambers fired his gun almost immediately, so he had barely any time to aim. The last reason is even if the guns aren't that big, there's still some recoil, which probably threw off Chambers' aim even more since he never used a gun before. That's where the bullet hole in the wall came from. What happened next? Struggle between Erlenmeyer and... Okay. Still don't understand why he didn't do anything. Okay, let's see. Can you tell the court exactly what happened? Well, Erlenmeyer tried to get Chambers' weapon, but the old man kicked him in the stomach before he could. Chambers pushed Erlenmeyer to get some distance, and then... What about the bloody handprint we found in the cell? Erlenmeyer put his hand on the wall for support, you know. Like he wanted to feel the sense of touch for the last time. He went down till he collapsed on the prison bed. Then what happened? You deaf or what? I already told you. Yeah, you knocked me unconscious. Yes. How do you do that? What kind of stupid question is that? He hit me over the head with it. I mean, what did he do in more detail? He ran up to me, hit me over the head with the gun. He can move fast for an old man. And for how long were you unconscious? Till I was discovered by another prison guard 2 hours later. That's enough stalling, Tenas. You have thoroughly examined this testimony. Is there a contradiction or not? There is no contradiction. And there you have it, Your Honor. Motive, Arthur Chambers. Opportunity, Mr. Meekins allowing him to prison. And finally, decisive evidence, Mr. Fisher's testimony. I believe that is all is necessary for a guilty verdict. You are correct. Mr. Justice, if you have any evidence to present or arguments to make, you should do so now. I believe that the jury has seen enough to render a verdict. And I'm sure you know what the verdict will be. Your Honor, I have nothing. I'm sorry, Judge. Very well, we will allow the jury to announce a verdict. That's what he's saying. Who said that? The defense! The defense requests a second cross-examination. What? You found no contradiction the first time. What makes you think you'll find this time will be any different? You don't want to look for contradictions. We want to ask Mr. Fisher a question. What? No, I don't. You can't give up now, Paula. Not when there's so many unanswered questions in Mr. Fisher's testimony. His testimony is flawless in the fact that there's no contradictions, but there's still one gaping hole. He's detailing what happened like it was caught on tape. But there's one crucial difference between the person and a camera. Huh? So I don't get it? Imagine that instead of Fisher, there were two guards on duty that night. Think about what the second guard's testimony would be like. That's enough chit-chat, Mr. Justice. Now, do you have a question or not? As my assistant just said, I do. This question will expose a giant contradiction in the testimony.
Objection!
You have everything you needed for a verdict, Your Honor. Why allow us to continue? Our job is to find the truth of what happened. The defense believes it can. If you can find the truth of one question, then I may as well let them try. Sorry guys, but we already found the truth. I am only let them ask one question. Do you think that will really take too much time? I suppose not. Anyways, you just heard me, Mr. Justice. I will let you cross-examine the witness, but you may only ask one question, and one question only. That's fine, because only one question is all I need. And remember how I was talking about earlier, like, how can you see them struggle but not do anything? It's kind of odd, isn't it? Like, just, you're standing there, but you're not doing anything? I guess it's a glitch, bug. Let's see, yes. And there's a struggle, like what was he even doing then? Doesn't even make sense. And what exactly were you doing during the struggle? Got you now, Fisher. Why didn't you do anything to stop the struggle, huh? I don't know. What was I supposed to do? You're a prison guard. It was your job to make sure nothing like this happened. Well, how was I supposed to know that the goddamn struggle stopped the goddamn struggle? You had a gun, didn't you? I was too shocked to do anything. I was glued to the spot. I would be scared if two people broke into a fight like that in front of me. Wow, you got a believable answer out. What should I do? Press harder, obviously. Come on, Fisher. You're trained for this sort of thing. Chambers is an old man that has never used a gun. There's no way you could have stopped it, especially if you had a gun yourself.
Objection!
You're badgering my witness. Stop.
Objection!
I refuse to believe that he just stood there. What if I had no time to do anything, punk? Chambers shot the gun as soon as he was in the cell. Of course you had time to do something. The first shot missed, and afterwards there was a struggle. I was nervous. You were trained to be a prison guard, and Chambers is an old man. Anyone could have stopped the struggle. Well, could anyone do while... Dang it. Well, could anyone do anything while unconscious? Dang, you slipped up big time, dude. Whoops. Order! You were unconscious when the struggle happened? Yeah. Tell us what happened, now. I walked into the cell first. As soon as I did, Chambers hit me over the head with the gun. I heard the first gunshot as I passed out. So anything in your testimony was just a big lie? Well, starting with the struggle, yeah. Sorry guys. But I figured out that was the only thing that could have happened. That's why I said what I did. Even if that part of his testimony is discarded, the defendant is still attacked my witness and fired a gun.
Objection!
That bullet missed. There's no way you can prove Chambers fired the second shot. I agree with the defense. It is almost certain that the defendant is guilty. However, we don't have an eyewitness to the moment of the crime. Therefore, there is still a shred of doubt. I will extend the trial a day to give the prosecution defense. There's no need for that, Your Honor. If you want me to eliminate that shred of doubt, all I need is a short recess to prep a witness. You like Edward or something? Just prep a witness? No, Von Karma? Are you positive that this witness will eliminate all doubt? Of course. Very well. Court is adjourned for a 10-minute recess. Nope, we got off the hook for now. Fisher was there at the moment of the crime, so I figured his testimony might be useful. I got a copy of it for my records. Fisher's testimony added to the court record. Okay. Oh, we didn't even get to talk to her. Was it called recess or anything? Court is back in session. Mrs. Poole, is your witness ready? Naturally. Then let's bring him out. Let's bring him out there. What? Him? You have already had your name and occupation on the record, so let's not repeat that travesty. Yes, ma'am. Now then, please give your testimony about why Mr. Chambers could only be the murderer. Alright, so let's hear his testimony, and then after that, next time we'll like cross-examine him. It had to be him, ma'am. When I left the victim's cell, Erlenmeyer, Chambers, and Fisher were there, ma'am. Between Chambers and Fisher, the culprit must have been the former. Not only did the fingerprints were on the murder weapon and the blood on the row point to him, I also have evidence proving that Fisher isn't the killer. First, the first shot means the murderer is inexperienced with shooting. More important, why would Fisher use Chambers' gun instead of his own? That's why there's no doubt that Chambers was a true perpetrator of this crime, ma'am. This is more of a deduction than a witness's account. No matter, you may begin the cop's examination. Okay guys, so next time we're gonna begin the cross-examination of Meekins again, so I'll see you guys next time.